everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video. In this one, we're going to be talking about the boss fight, Hela. She's one of the hardest bosses in the game right now, whether it's in the open world bosses or most wanted, or more specifically, what you've got to do every week is the battle challenge. So I'm going to be showing you the battle challenge. I'm mainly focused on walking through the mechanics of this fight. There is a pattern, generally speaking, that she does. As long as you pick up on this, you can change the gauge based on how much ever patience you have or how strong you are to see how far you can get into the more challenging aspects of battle challenge. What I'm going to show you makes it look a lot easier because I wanted to show you those mechanics. So as you upgrade or make the levels more difficult for this specific challenge, it's going to be harder. There's going to be zero room for error. You'll probably hear me say that multiple times, but zero room for error. So hopefully you find this video helpful, and let's get to it.
Bring me WolverThor!
All right, so I already recorded this. This is not me. I'm not playing as I talk to you here. I'm actually going to talk over the video that I've already got going. So I did this earlier. I'm going to play it at normal speed to start. I'm going to jump around a little bit. So the way this normally starts is that Hela will do like 3 dashes. So I played with the camera mode a little bit to see if I wanted to show you guys. So if you get one thing, if you get too close to her, she will start throwing her spikes at you. It almost doesn't matter what part of the fight it is. That'll happen. So my first suggestion is don't be too close to her for very long. And while there's obviously these elites that fly around, generally speaking, pick your moments when you want to attack them. Depending on how hard of a game mode it is or how hard the settings are, that'll determine how often you fight those. A lot of times you'll see me just blatantly ignoring them. Sometimes I like to kill them so I can focus Hela. It just depends on my mood for the day, frankly. All right, so in this particular case, she didn't start her dash right away. She actually went up in the air. That probably had to do with the fact I was close to her. So when she does this, you will see that she gets spikes around her. Now, I think she throws 8 spikes during this mode where she goes up in the air. And you'll see right there, right over where the clock is. She's got those spikes out. She starts throwing them. I think there's 8 of them. But the most important thing here is when they pop back up again, do you see how right now that you see these spikes right near her? When those pop up the second time, she's going to throw a snare. This is probably the most important aspect of this fight if you want to survive. You must have a dodge available for this snare. Because what will happen is she'll snare you, you can't move, she teleports to you and does basically a one shot. Now, again, it's not a one shot if you don't have it on the hardest settings, but later I'll show you how much HP it takes away. So you do that, you see I dodge, she goes to spot, then what happens, she comes down and she does like kind of a spin blade. Now that spin blade is what I'm talking about as the one shot. So again, after that last one dodge, she comes down, does that, spins. If you are within that spin, you are dead. Stay out of it. So now she's dashing around the map again. She'll do 3 dashes here. Really, the second one is the one of most importance. And I'm going to talk about this a lot, okay? So there's one. Actually, that was the second one. So that was in the middle of the second one. So let's get her to... All right. So here she's going through those spikes. You'll see I'll dodge when they come all back out again. Dodge, invincible. She comes down, does her swipe. There's dash 1. Okay, that one you really just need to be sort of out of the way. She'll come in. There's dash 2. During dash 2, she kind of punches the ground. We'll see if you can see this. Did you see how she just punched the ground there? And then this green stuff came around. Right after she does that, she will throw spikes at you. I highly recommend dodging at this point as well. You will see me dodge here. Dodge. Then all those spikes come flying. Third one is sort of just a punch. And then at that point, typically she'll do one of 2 things. She'll either go back up in the air and throw those spikes. And then again, when they pop out, you want to dodge on the last one. Or she'll do this trail of fire. With the trail of fire, what you want to do is you always want to be running perpendicular to a spot or running in a circle, so to speak, so that it's not easy for her to trail and get you. Think of it like almost like a falling tree. If a tree's falling towards you, run to the side. Okay? If the tree starts falling towards you again, run to a different side. If the tree starts falling to you again, run to a different side. So that way the tree doesn't fall on you each time. That's the easiest way to think about it. So I try to spin my camera around a little bit. You can see she just goes a different pattern. Then she goes into this and then does a big spike. That's the best opportunity to hit her, or at least one of those elites. Again, you see I'm too close to her there. She starts throwing spikes. She goes up in the air again, throws 8. You'll see as soon as she gets the big ones out again, I dodge. I don't get snared. She comes down. She does the spin. I'm out of it. No big deal. She comes 1 dash, 2 dash, hand in the ground, dodge spikes at me, 3rd dash. Now at this point, she'll either do Trail of Fire or she'll go back up in the air. I chose to be nearer, so she went straight, or in this particular case, she went to the Trail of Fire. She'll come down. She'll do this large AoE with a couple cones to her. Find the spots where you can get the cones. I typically like to attack her. And again, notice how she's throwing these spikes at me when I'm near her. That can throw off her pattern. She goes up in the air again, starts throwing spikes. Just make sure you're running around the whole time those spikes out. They come out, I dodge, I don't get snared. She comes down, does the spin, I'm outside of it. Does the dashes again. You're starting to get the pattern here, right? Second one, dodge, I miss them. Third one, no big deal, just stay out of the way. What does she do? All right, Trail of Fire here. So then I just do sort of the circle, and so she doesn't hit me. And then you get this effect, which is typically a good opportunity to hit something. If you find yourself not able to get to her quickly, it might be a good idea to hit those flying elites. And again, notice that I was near her, and so she's throwing a lot of spikes at me. I will never do that with high damage settings for her. She's up in the air again. She's throwing a lot of spikes. Once they all come out, I dodge. I can't get snared. She comes, she does that, she spins. I'm out of the way. Then she dashes. So you get up this pattern. Now at a certain point, when I think it's around 2 or 3 bars, some of the, when she comes down and sort of the big AoEs, they get a little bit different. It's not going to change the concept though. Stay out of them, okay? So you don't want to be standing in those. You can see I finally decided to hit some of those elites there. She's doing her dash again. Second dash, she punches the ground. I should be dodging. There's those spikes. Third dash, she's just punching around. No big deal. Now, she changed her dynamic again. Stay out of the green. It's nothing you don't already know. Stay out of it. You know it's going to hurt. At this point, hit some elites. Make sure they're taking some damage. She's doing the Trail of Fire again. No big deal. You're just running in a circle. Here's one of those big AoEs. All right, you don't want to be anywhere near that. All right, just don't be near it. She's going back into dashing again. There's not a whole lot more to the fight than this. As the settings get higher and higher, you'll see I beat her there. So there wasn't much more to show here. I'll show a couple more fights so you can get a feel. But again, it's all about the pattern. All right, the start of the fight is also, again, important. You can choose to hit her. You can choose to just sort of get her to do her dashes. It's up to you. There's 1 dash. There's 2 dashes. I should be dodging there, but I take all the spikes. And now she's up in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All out. Dodge. Boom. So I always like to count to myself just so I'm in that pattern. And then I make sure that I'm out of the way. Now, again, I think I lose track. Nope, there's the hands. I should be dodging. Yep, perfect. Get out of the spikes. She's doing her dash thing. She might do Trail of Fire here. Yep, so now she's doing Trail of Fire. I'm trying to stay out of the way. You guys get the idea, right? I mean, and then she does this same thing where it's spike. Now, again, I think it's the best opportunity to hit some of those elites at that moment if you're nowhere near her. Start getting those down. Make it a little bit easier for you so there's less things around. That becomes more critical in the fights where there's a lot more damage done quickly. You can see I get a little edgy there to take a hit. You might want to hit him right as she's going into the air. I'm moving out of the way of the 8. The spikes all come out. I dodge so I don't get snared. She comes down, swirls. You're hearing a lot of the repetitive part of this, but I wanted to put this in the video over and over and over because while I know someone might finish this video in 3 minutes and see the pattern, I wanted anybody who didn't to hear it over and over and over because that's what's going to be key to this fight is learning that pattern, getting used to it, and be able to just be patient. As you move up the difficulty scales here, she just hits so much harder. I'm telling you, like some of these things, you have 0 room for error. It's insane. I dodge so I don't get snared. She should come down, swipe. I think I get hit. Yeah. So you could see that I just got hit there. What did it take me to? I was at 95%, and this is on the easiest level, and it took me down to 8%. That thing is basically an insta-kill. It is insane how hard that thing hits. And then, you know, I ran out of, or no, I just didn't dodge there with the spikes. So you can see how it becomes important to, even if you survive, to stay out of those spikes. So I think generally speaking, if you start picking up the pattern of this fight, you will get it figured out pretty easily. It's not that hard to figure out the pattern. The hard part is the room for error becomes next to nothing. And those elites, they start hitting you harder and harder. So you're going to want to attack them. And so you just start getting impatient a little bit. I think if you find that you can keep your patience, be smart about staying with the pattern, attack her at moments or that you find openings. I like to do stuff where it's like after the first dash, maybe after the third dash, before she goes up in the air, when she comes down, after her snare, and or after this part right here, when she does the sort of nuclear symbol. Now you can see I hit the other guys. I wanted to hit her, but targeting in the game. And again, just remember not to be too close to her, because if you're too close to her and you waste dodges, you become in a really bad situation. You see that I had to use my ult there because I played too close to her and I didn't have a dodge for the snare. That snare is insane critical to have a dodge available. And as like I mentioned, as you have higher settings on this thing to make it harder, if you don't have a dodge for that second dash, you are in a very, very bad position. So again, you can find ways to get around, to find opportunities to hit her. You can see I'm too close. She's throwing spikes at me. That would normally be a big problem. But again, I had this set for the easiest mode so I could walk through the pattern with you, as opposed to just stressing nonstop about avoiding every single moment and making this a 45-minute speed up video. I just wanted to talk about the mechanics of it. So again, she's going through the air. At some point here, I'll get her down and you'll see she does some more of the dynamics. I kill those elites so that I can focus on her, and it becomes a little bit simpler. Again, just find the opportunities there are out there to actually get a hit on her, and that's pretty critical. You can see again, I think I take them out. Or no, I guess I shoot her here. I alt, snipe, use your biggest hit abilities. I get away. She uses this green circle thing. I start hitting these guys so they're dead, and I can just focus on her. That way it's a lot easier. And you can see again some of the pattern. This is the simplest you'll see it. Again, trail of fire. Sometimes as you get later, again, she has a giant AoE circle. Stay out of it. It's not that hard to stay out of. And again, you just move around. It's the second dash. She punches the ground, dodge so the spikes don't hurt you. And then, you try to avoid getting hit by those other ones. But that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to this fight. So hopefully you find this helpful. I think while she hits crazy hard, I recommend using supervillain damage decrease cards, supervillain damage increase cards. You don't necessarily need some of the other items that you might have for your normal PvE set, or you should actually be building supervillain damage for your PvE set, because most characters are supervillain damage. In this case, those cards translate to her, but you might want to consider using decreases as well. In my particular build, sometimes I'll increase my defense just so I can survive longer. I might use companions like Ultron, Volstagg to get some of that higher up as well. I want to make sure that if I mess up in the slightest, that I can get through it. Otherwise, that's it. So I think I give her the opportunity to run around here a little bit more. So if this has been helpful for you at all, please share with your alliance mates. I always like to joke about your aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, grandma, grandpa. That's just kind of a shtick that I do because it's fun for me. I don't know, maybe it's not fun for you, but I get a kick out of it. Hammer down like buttons, click notification bells, subscribe. If you want to help really support the channel financially or anything like that, YouTube is now doing some sort of support function where if you click a join button next to subscribe, I just appreciate you watching it this far. Let me know your comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you found any other tips or tricks to be able to beat her through this? I think this pattern is the one that I've seen that's the easiest to get through. There's also a Discord link in the description below. Just come along, talk, chat, all things Marvel Future Revolution or anything really Marvel related. We love everything Marvel. So appreciate you making it this far. Again, until next time, hope you have a wonderful day.